Today we're going to talk about estate sale challenges, the part most people never see. Estate sales look pretty straightforward from the outside. We open the doors, we sell the contents, we empty the home. But in reality, the work begins long before the public ever walks in. And today what I want to talk to you about are the challenges. I just finished a very long run of setting up a sale, running a sale, doing the clean out, and I've started another sale. So at this point, I feel a little exhausted. Why am I exhausted, and what can I talk about today that kind of highlights the behind the scenes? Where issues commonly arise in estate sales are a number of things that maybe you wouldn't have even thought about. Number 1, extended family. Number 2, neighbors. Number 3, realtors and timeline pressures. And number 4, caregivers. So let's break it down and kind of go into what that can mean. This doesn't happen in every estate sale, and sometimes they run super smoothly without a single hitch. But there are times when extended family can show up. Sometimes they're expecting things. Sometimes you arrive at a house and items get removed after already having your contract in place, which says don't remove anything from the house once it is signed. In one estate, during the sale, all these Christmas ornaments just disappeared. And we did not know what happened. And then there was a camera, and the family looked into the camera and they noticed that a relative had come in. She didn't check out. She just grabbed the ornaments and decided to leave because she felt that she earned them. Neighbors is number 2, and where the problems can arise is a number of things. Sometimes the increased traffic can create concern. Parking can become an issue. Sometimes the shoppers are so excited they block mailboxes or they block driveways. Sometimes neighbors come to us and say, "Oh, Doris promised us that step ladder." But unless it's in the will or unless the family has told us to give the ladder, we have to stick by our contract. And luckily, that is an excuse that we can use over and over again. I'm sorry, it's not in the contract, or it's in the contract. In this last estate sale, we did have a neighbor that tried to sabotage the sale. He took our signs. He snuck into the backyard, or you could almost say trespassed into the backyard right when we opened so that he could avoid the line. And so did another customer who we actually know. He also broke in through the backyard to try to avoid standing in line because it was a really popular sale and there were at least 60 people waiting to get in. So David showed him the way out, the neighbor, and the neighbor wreaked havoc on us the entire weekend. He created a homemade painted sign. The sign read, "Estate sale canceled," and 2 frowny faces. You can't make this stuff up. It's like reality television. And anyways, we had to call the cops 4 different times. It was really stressful, and it took our attention off our job, which is to sell, empty the house, and help the family. So that was pretty annoying. The next one, realtors and timeline pressures. Now, with realtors, they give us a lot of jobs. We have great relationships with them, but sometimes there are lack of boundaries. Sometimes they will show up daily to check on our work, even though our contract is with the family, not the realtor. They will keep asking us, "When are you finished? When are you going to be done? When are you going to be out of here?" Sometimes they'll set up appointments. Yesterday, I was trying to do our work in a home which was basically, it's really full and everything needs to be cleaned out. Every junk drawer, every cabinet, there's tons of stuff in it. There is a lot of recycling to do. And I had to dance around with an inspector who was inspecting the house, even though the house isn't going to be on the market until March. They wanted to get this done today. So that's one of our challenges. It's unnecessary, but I guess for them, they want the house on the market as quickly as possible because it's always a selling season. But like I said, we have some wonderful relationships with realtors. Sometimes we sign a contract, we go in, and we don't ever see the realtor again. Or sometimes they help us. But there are those that overstep their role and put a lot of pressure on us. Now, sometimes we've run into caregivers that are still living in the home, which has been awkward. They also, well, it's like here's a common thread for an estate sale or when someone has passed away. People will come out of the woodwork to say that they're entitled to something, whether it's the book collection or a bicycle in the garage. They'll tell us everything. Oh, well, she promised me that, or no, that's mine. And of course, she's passed away, so we can't ask her. So that's always an awkward situation, trying to juggle what was promised, what is reality. Estate sale work isn't just logistical, it's situational, and every house comes with its own human landscape. So this leads to the next item I'm going to cover is why a tight contract matters. It's not to be rigid, it's to create stability, it's to protect us. And our contract helps control our workspace, it helps control the removal of items, also the timeline expectations and access to the property and decision makers. Now, we have in our contract that no one is supposed to be in the house while we are working. It sounds maybe odd, but it's really disruptive. Yesterday, when the home inspector was there, I'd be in a room and he would show up with his ladder and tools, and I can't work in that, and I have to stop my focus and I have to go somewhere else. So we like to have a clean landscape with nobody in the house so that we can just do our work, because no matter how many days we have to prepare, in this case we have about 2.5 weeks, it's not enough. Not enough to clear out the garbage, clear out the recycling, stage the entire house, wash the clothing. We're washing these vintage dresses and these vintage baby clothes, and then we don't get paid extra for doing that. It's part of the job. And of course, the most important part is the research, which in the house we are in right now, there's a lot more research than the last house. And when I say research, you can go along to a cabinet of collectibles. And in the last house, I didn't have to research or look into any of them. I knew what everything was for the most part, and I just put a price tag on it. This next one, we have all this special local art. I need to understand the artist. I need to understand the original price. I need to understand whether it's rare or not. And that takes a lot of time. And so any interruptions can affect the workflow, which is why we try to have a tight contract, but implementing it is harder than it sounds. The business is physical, it's emotional, it's time sensitive, it requires constant decision making, yet the expectation is always professionalism. We aren't just clearing houses, we're working inside life transitions. Most people see the finished sale, they come, they shop, but they usually are very complimentary of how we set up our sales. Few see the coordination required beforehand, and few understand the emotional awareness involved. The goal is always the same: handle the process responsibly, respect the home, and guide it to its next chapter. That's what we're trying to do, and we try to make sure that course is smooth sailing so that we can get our work done, open the doors to our awesome customers, and let the sale begin.